Hi, it's Hazel. Welcome to my channel, Hazel and Aka Design. Now, you can probably tell from the look of this paper that, well, I'm having trouble with my chair, that today I'm working in the art journal. Now, whether you are new here or returning, know with every fiber of your being that I appreciate you being here. And also know that whether I've said it out loud or just have been, have the intention, I always want to be straight with you. I always want to, tell it like it is, not sugarcoat anything. So to be perfectly honest, I really like this series and I really hope that I can make it work. But on the other hand, it is not without its challenges. Those of you, excuse me, those of you who have been here a while know that my iPhone does not have a pause button, and I do not have the skills to be able to edit videos. So in other words, kind of what you see is what you get. You see it if I stick my foot in my mouth. And geez, sorry about this. My voice was fine up until I turned the camera on. And so that means that either videos have to have a lot of prep done ahead of time, or they end up being just show and tell or whatever. So to not cut into the much more of this video time, if you saw the video where I was sort of prepping the pages, I had turned a failed altered book into a binder type book. So because, now you probably can't even tell because I've added so many layers, maybe here you can see what these pages look like. So even as I was working on my own last night, I wasn't starting with a blank paper or just a gessoed paper. So the first thing, because these are going to be a facing spread, the first thing I did was sort of masking tape them together. I also did it right over the holes so that there'd be no leakage. So that means that when I separate, when this is done and when I separate them, there will be uninterrupted flow from left to right. Geez, I'm so sorry. I haven't had to pop a candy or a Tic Tac or something for a long time. Let's see if that does the trick. And in true form, it is color coordinated with the spread. Okay, so what I did first, I used, now do I have a scrap to show you? Although I'm sure you can imagine what purple tissue paper looks like. So that background was sort of reddy purple. So in places, I, just using a glue stick, I adhered the purple tissue paper. And I purposely squashed it up, creased it, folded it to create some dimension. Because, even if these areas get covered up, I think ultimately it matters. Oh, I've put my stencils away. I also, sometimes it's just a matter of choosing what is within reach as opposed to delving too far, looking too far to find something. So this, I think this might have been, it's a Martha Stewart thing that I obviously cut down so it would fit better. And I just used, okay, maybe, sorry, I think I might have skipped a step. So I did the tissue paper. Then I used some gesso over it to knock that back. To be honest, this space here kind of bugs me because it is such sharp edges. This has not gone away. Mind you, maybe there are other areas, but you'll see how I handle that. So I just use this, Walmart dollar store type paint. The difference is that this is a metallic, and this particular color is ice blue. Oh, sorry. Before I did that, I used this rich espresso, also metallic, and I did that to sort of because there's a fine line between purple / plum, say, and brown. So I did that to sort of neutralize that color a bit. And you can see where that is still showing through these bronzy type areas. Then, finally, whoops, I used this stencil just to bring in some blues because, I didn't tell you what my original intention was. I, at one point, did have a magazine on jewelry and sort of wearable bling and so on. So I, of course, saved this page. Okay, the magazine was ornament, which I chose this one. So I had that. I had these other types of elements that I'd fussy cut, thinking that one day I'm going to use them. I won't bother pulling all those out. You can see that there are others here that, are very dramatic, probably still need to be further fussy cut. Anyway, what I wanted, and trust me, I tried a lot of stuff. Whoops. I pulled out these pieces of foil. Now, when we had our flower shop, we were able to buy this stuff by the big roll. So, of course, any pieces that were left over, I still have 25 years later. So I played around, and I played around, and I played around. But I also kept stenciling to add more depth. So these circles are from a piece of Punchinello. This is the waste product from the making of sequins. I also used, I'm not going to bother digging out all the stencils because it doesn't matter what I use, because you can't use what I use because you have different stuff. But you can see here's a bit of text. The word actually says keep secrets. And this color here ends up being vibrant fuchsia. I also used some teal. I used black through the Punchinello. And again, it's just a way to layer stuff up. I also used a different stencil here, parts of stencils. Kind of almost a paisley type design. I think that was probably a Tim Holtz one. Anyway, that brings me to this point. I think I've told you everything. So then I began playing around with some of the elements that I had fussy cut. So I wanted to, now pretend you don't see that. I wanted to use this lady because she's wearing some painted silk, I think. But then I also had this, and I knew I wanted gold to be part of the factor here. You also know, because I've told you before, that I don't ever want to have my people looking outside the frame. So I would never put her over here looking outside, outside the page. So that meant that she had to be over here. Now, just because positioning matters, like, okay, her body ends there, that's going to be flush with the bottom of the page. And I knew I wanted this, and I knew I wanted this. So I just basically glued them together so I could treat them as one unit. Oh, I should also say that this is some beautiful, beautiful tissue paper. And I don't know where I got it or how long ago I got it, but this is part of the reason why I bemoan the fact that there isn't really nice tissue paper out there at an affordable price. So once you introduce a gold element, you better repeat it someplace else. So let's bring in Sophia Loren. Now, this is where her page, where her arm and her page and then the page ended. So naturally, I have to butt that up here. Now, there was also a curtain or something here that her hand was behind. So I had to sort of do kind of an amputation there. But I intend to cover that. This foil circle is something that used to be popular. Oh, almost feel a sneeze coming. That used to be popular as a wedding favor. So you'd buy these foil colored things, you know, whatever color, silver, gold, teal, when teal was hot. And you'd bunch it up and put curling ribbon around it, and you had little candies or nuts or something inside as a wedding favor. So I'm repeating this gold foil. I did scrunch this up because at first it was like, whoa, it was so kind of in your face and so very shiny and flat. Now I guess another thing I might want to do, maybe let's just give that a little whirl. I'm going to bring in my, oh, I dare not move my cup. I'm just going to see if I can knock back that glittery bit. Maybe let's try it. Ooh, that might be dangerous. I was going to say, let's try it by her armpit. I can't even tell if that's doing anything. And protecting my, I guess it is. Protecting my surface here is a big piece of parchment paper. You know, the stuff that you buy on the roll for the kitchen. Yeah, I think that helps. So let's just do a little more. So it's naturally going to be not absorbed, but it's going to look different based on how big or small the creases are in the foil. Get under her little chin. And again, you can see that I glued several pieces together because with this cut off arm here, you know, obviously you can't have things not be where you intend them to be. Yeah, I think that helped. So I'm going to, now because I want that foil to sort of be flush and I want that to work, this is where she's going to go down. And of course, I'll trim off her torso. I gave her this over-the-top brooch, for lack of a better word, because it just felt like she needed something to compete with that cleavage, that remarkable cleavage. So that's going to be there. This is going to be here. I hope you can see this all at the same time. Okay, if I stay there, you should be able to, all right, maybe I'll just lift this up a smidge. Okay, mind you, I keep sliding it back and forth just because it makes it easier for me to work. So this in itself isn't a layout, isn't much of a layout. So I had other pieces. Again, this foil, let's repeat the red. So this is some kind of a thing I fussy cut. Now, I think it was probably intended to be this way with this dangly thing, but no one knows or cares about that because we do what we have to for the sake of the project. I fussy cut these rings. I have this as well. Let me put those there for the time being. And I also have this that I fussy cut. So what I initially intended was that these beads would be the connecting element across. So it's going to go across the whole spread. It's going to connect this lady and this and Sophia. But I have to do something about this unfortunate arm here. So, which was it? I think it was this one that I was going to sort of layer over her arm, her tragic amputation. Oh, I need to keep that underneath there because I don't want it just randomly ending in the middle of nowhere. And I thought I was going to do something like that, again, to make it look sort of deliberate. Now, I suppose if I'm having trouble getting this to stay underneath there, I could also do that. That might be better. And I did play around with, yeah, that makes it easier. I did play around with which side this red should be at. And I think this is what I decided on, because red, red, red. Okay, so that's kind of what I know so far. And I did want to, you know, carry the jewel theme and the gold theme and so on. I can't quite remember how I had this, but again, this, for better or worse, is what the plan was. So, let us make some progress here. Okay. Since this is now going to go over her hand, I can set that aside. Let's glue down this gigantic element. Then I can trim the edges and have a better idea of what the actual plane looks like. Bring in this. I'm just going to pull this over a bit so that I have a little more room to work here. Okay, why don't I just roughly, this isn't the fine cut, but let's just rip this off so I'm not having to deal with extra stuff and put glue where it's not needed. And I will probably, I was going to say probably avoid her little stump there, but we'll see. Mind you, I suppose I could work here too. So this is a big area to glue all at once. You don't really want to, mind you, I was going to say I don't want to get the, to smooth out the creases in this foil, but maybe that isn't an issue. Whoa. Oh, you can, look at that, it didn't stick. You can see the art glitter glue there. What a surprise, something didn't stick to foil, huh? Go figure. Oh, well that's annoying. Okay, now that kind of buggered up my plan here. Okay, let's get this down quick like so. I wanted that gold to touch the edge of the page there. We know that this arm has to come over here. And then we know that the foil oh, see, don't smooth it out too much. I added some new creases there. Boy, I almost didn't. Oh, that should have been a little lower, but hey, beggars can't be choosers. Okay. Maybe just for the heck of it, I should try to trim some of it. Or you know what? Let's just fold this over. Yeah, and because the gluing was not perfect, hardly, let's pull in the big guns. Let's try Fabri-Tac. Because the gluing was not perfect, there are these sort of air bubbles underneath here, but that's fine. This is crafting in the real world, people. That's going to be something if I'm going to have to sew her down or something. Pardon me for touching your décolletage. Okay, is her head down? No, it isn't. Poor Sophia. And you know, I haven't seen pictures of her lately. But once you've got those cheekbones, you've got them for life. That is, I don't know about this, people. It would be a shame if I was relying on this tissue paper and that bit of her abdomen there to hold this all down on the paper. And this elbow. Let's put some glue on this elbow. Oh, you know what I could have used, but again, that creates a few other problems, is matte medium. But then I would have needed a brush and water. And anyway, let's just see how that works for the time being. Maybe I'll put this magazine over her, help hold that down. Okay, so we know that the, excuse me, we know that the connecting element is these beads here. So, okay, let's get this out of the way. That'll be one of the last items, as will this. We'll put that over there. Okay, so what did I say? This was going to go over and over. And then this was going to, I guess that looks more almost human than if it were this way. Then it looks more like what it is, which is a pendant. Okay, so now we know. That is such a straight line there. I don't like that. Now that's such a triangle. I don't like that. Put the base end of this triangle this way. I already know I won't want that. Okay, so if we do like so, I can play around with how much of her forearm to cover. So let's say that this, yeah, we don't want this straight across. So let's angle this as much as we can get it. Want this girl sort of close to this wall. So we're going to hold this in place. Did you see how I was moving that with my hand? Nothing like positioning it and then having to... Anyway, we just want that to grab quick like, so that I can glue this part down. And then we can maybe fine tune a bit if necessary. Now, is that holding? Yes, it seems to be holding. So I'm going to kind of cheat this over as far to the left as I can. And let's use art glitter glue. So I'm going to get glue all around this. You know, this gold tissue paper. I've had that for years because, you know, when something is beautiful and you never know if you'll ever be able to get it again. Too often the thinking was, well, I dare not use it. Okay, so we want the bottom of her outfit to sort of hit the bottom edge here of the page. It doesn't have to be totally perfect. We don't want to cover up too much of those red beads because otherwise, what was the point? So we're going to call that good. Okay. Maybe let's put that on her now. So I hope, I'm so busy caught up here and doing what I need to do, I'm forgetting to be the good hostess and say, I hope that you're working. I hope you've created an art journal and are, okay, looks like maybe this is sticking. And hope that you are doing something as well in your art journal. Okay, let's deal with this before we worry about the other areas. Mind you, we do need to see how that gold foil works in relation to... And again, I can tell where my pages have been taped together. So I'm trying to be a bit cognizant of that too, because I'd like, you know, I don't want to split it down the middle necessarily, but I do want some of this to be on both pages. This almost looks, to be honest, as though she's holding all of this in her hand. So, okay, that's where I ripped off her arm, so, or the fraction of her arm that was left. So, and if, mind you, up here I could bring other things in if necessary to balance it. Okay. Let me do what I'm sure of, which will be... See, the problem with this glossy paper is that sometimes these little, now maybe you can't see it, but I can, and we hope it settles down, is these little streams of our glitter glue create little ridges. So if I can do this with glue stick, okay, so that point is going to be right about there. So it's about 2 1/4 inches over the seam of the page. So I'm just adding whatchamacallit, glue stick to this tissue paper. And this tissue paper seems to have enough body to it. And again, I can crease this, bunch it up as I go, especially since I'm using glue stick. It's more forgiving, and you know, you've got a bit of time. That's so beautiful. It's almost like it almost looks like fabric, to be honest. Now I said I want some of that red to be on that side of the page. Now, if, you know, if part of this ends up lifting, that's okay, because I can, you know, go back in and I wonder, do I want this up a bit? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it doesn't have to be off the edge of the page like the other part is. Okay. Now, this piece has to go down. Do I want to just make a mark here and here? Then I know that if I get my tissue within there, it should be good. And you may think to yourself, well, why does it matter if it's a millimeter this way or that way? I think it does. Does that make me anal retentive? Perhaps. Perhaps. Again, let's do a little bunching, a little scrunching, a little ruching. Isn't ruching a great word? Mind you, that could also be wasted effort because, oh, see, only the little barest tip of this, come on, is going to be on the left-hand page. But that's okay. I do have more of the gold if I have to reintroduce it somewhere. Okay, I think maybe I should just use this. Then I can ensure true cover. Oh, brother. True coverage. It's kind of a shame that I'm having to do mixed media right after I get my nails done. But hey, my woman, Yan, really takes pride in what she does. And of course, this whole French tip thing, when I first started seeing her years ago, first of all, the reason I do it, whether it's in or not, apparently it's coming back, is that I'm not going to be held captive by my fingernails, and I'm not going to spend so much by having to do all that maintenance like if I had colored polish. When I see ladies on YouTube with their beautiful nails, I think, oh, isn't that color great? Oh, isn't that lovely? And then I'm thinking, yeah, but I get 3 weeks out of my, I think that, well, what am I waiting for? I could glue that down right there. But the question becomes, where? Do I have it way up here? Do I have it, like I just need to cover that little point there. And in fact, why didn't I just rip that little point off? Then I have a little more flexibility. We will ponder that, I think. No, we're just going to bite the bullet and do it. Now at this point, if I put it way down here, it looks less like she's holding it. Not that this is real in any sense of the word, but it also clusters all this adornment kind of at the bottom half of the page. Maybe I need to push it as high as I can get it. It doesn't hurt one little bit that this purple and this gold are juxtapositioned. That word has kind of, you don't hear it in every second sentence like it used to. Yeah, I think that's where it should go. You can probably get this weight off the page, and then I won't have to struggle as much to slide it from place to place. Okay, so I said as high as it could go. And I'm going to move it over to the left as well, as far as I can, so that this little clasp part is kind of, it creates a new line here. It's not just lost in this really strong semicircle. Oh, cover this up. Doesn't take long for our glitter glue to get all gobbed up. Sorry guys, I'm going to just pick this up so I can look at it. The other thing that I think I might end up doing, now see, this is going to, in itself, this is probably not going to carry the day up here. So, how long have we been at this? I guess I can keep you a bit longer. I was also thinking that one of the last elements I would add, well, one of the next elements I would add is some either gel pen or Posca pen or marker type marks. And of course, I can also stamp over things if I want to. No, I don't want to introduce that, even though there is a bit of green in her silk. I kind of was considering this at one time, but I think that train has left the station. Maybe let me rip a bigger piece of my precious foil. Then this little ring thing will be lost. Oh, see, I can't exactly do that. Well, I guess I can, but too bad this is, didn't I use glue stick on that? Watch me wreck this. Oh. This is why it's kind of good to have a plan. It's good to be open to, hey. But is that too much? I kind of like the way this meets here. Although when I was taking art class, we were always told to be aware of any awkward shapes that we were creating, mostly with paint. I see this darn thing is lifting here. Not lifting necessarily, but flapping in the breeze. And again, there's nothing that says it has to be flat to the page, because it is an art journal after all. Okay, so then if I did this is obviously lost here, but I could put it there. Or do I want the stones? I want the stones on the gold and the gold on the purple. Now, another thing, there were some, and these are all jeweled in some way. There were also these things that I fussy cut. Sorry, I can't pick it up. So dragonflies, dragonfly, butterfly. This is the biggest element though. I obviously didn't fussy cut around this because I was afraid it was going to get ruined. That sort of holds it, doesn't it? And there's nothing that says that this has to be used, even though I liked it and I fussy cut it. You know what? I like this thing. So let me just quickly, cut around this thing. This might have been the cover. Oh, it was like an order form, so it's heavier weight, so that's good. It'll hold its own a little better. So I, like that book, I think I showed you that magazine. I think, what was it called? Ornamentation or something? I didn't know it existed, didn't have a subscription, nothing like that. It was obviously something I thrifted. So, you know, sometimes that is the way to get some exciting new element. And see that little thing there? Ties into that. Yeah, I'm happy. So, okay, we're going to just cut into the corner there. We're going to leave this little channel. And I'm going to use just glue stick. Again, this paper, don't make a liar out of me, seems to be tough enough. And of course, I'm gluing, whether you can see this or not, I'm gluing from the inside out to the edge. Whoa, it's starting to curl. From the inside out to the edges. So I said that we were going to have it flush at the top, and we were just going to cut that corner, break that sharp corner. And again, I can do a bit of scrunching as we go here. Oh, something I didn't, whoa, lift, come. Let's maybe get this lined up first and just see where it ends over there. And I could scrunch if I need to. So this is probably not exactly where I wanted it, but I think I will just live with it because this paper is fairly thin and I can't lift it many more times before I start wrecking it. I can't tell you how much I love this paper. Just sort of securing it in those places where maybe I didn't get as close. I didn't do as good gluing as I should have with the glue gun. Okay. So we have that. Now maybe I will just, I can glue this down. No, it can't be lifted once I'm adding art glitter glue. Yeah, I think I'm not that happy with how wide that ended up being, but hey, maybe it'll be a happy accident. Okay, before I glue down that, maybe the last piece, I'm just going to pick this up and trim this so that I am fully aware of where the page ends. Okay, that's what we have so far. Now, whoops, let me not wreck those rings. Let's add this big element here. You know, a person really does need to find joy in doing this, because I'll tell you that the amount of time I've spent on this, you know, the average person would say, "Are you nuts?" Okay, because, whoops, I'm having some difficulty here. Okay, I think because this gold shape didn't exactly end up where I wanted it to, now I have to rethink how I'm going to glue this. Do I want this just catching the edge of this? Do I want the wing probably breaking this line up? Do I want that sort of bleeding off the edge of the paper where I could trim that little thing? Do I want these elements all touching? And then what does that do? What does that create there? Now that blue stone obviously is more visible there than it would be if I had it there. I think it kind of has to be like this, to be honest, to keep some sort of a flow going here. So this is going to be about 1/4 of an inch from the corner there. So second bead, I'll position that and the rest will fall into place. And again, you know, I think I've told you before that when you're, and I don't mean this in a critical, bashing yourself kind of way, I mean in the analytical sense, if you're critiquing something after the fact, it is good to put it across the room, you know, prop it up so that, number one, you get your face the hell away from it and your focus away from it. And then maybe you just suddenly look up at the TV or across the room and you realize, oh, yeah, that's what the issue is there. That's what I need to do. And that then, you know, sometimes if you give yourself some distance, I mean physical and time distance from the issue, the project, it becomes a heck of a lot clearer what the problem is. One of the key things we were always told to ask ourselves when analyzing a piece of work is there any point where your eye gets stuck? And if so, you know that there's an issue there and you need to do something about it. So I think because there are some high contrast areas here, I think there could be some potential sort of problem areas. So I think we've probably been at this long enough. I am going to sit with this, prop it up somewhere across the room, maybe even in another room, so that I can every so often just see it. Let's see, I can probably fold this, and then we'd also have an idea of where each page ends and the other one begins. So half the dragonfly wing is going to be on the other side. That could make a difference too, being aware of where the page ends. Because in a ring binder, a ring journal, this is going to be, it's not going to be obviously touching each other. Let me get this out of the way so you're not obscured by that. So I'm just giving you a second to look at this. Now remember that I can always come back with some gesso. And of course, gesso is pure white. We don't want to introduce that at this point, but I could tint the gesso to soften up maybe because this frame here, this thing, is the only sharp edge in this whole spread, which means that it's automatically going to be where your eye looks as well, because it's different from everything else. One of these things is not like the others. Okay, before I do anything crazy, mind you, I don't think these pages are so big. I don't want to just scattergun add things. Oh, I did say I could use this here too. That helps. That sharp point, and it also brings some of those gem colors over here closer to her dress, and it keeps the gold on the purple. If I was totally bizarro, I could have this dragonfly alight on her shoulder, but that's probably too far out for me. I could do that there. I was going to quickly cut this off around the dragonfly's head, but maybe not. Maybe that is the way that should be. So you can see that there are, this yellow one somehow, as much as there's gold in all of this, this looks too much like the real thing. I don't know. I'll leave that in abeyance for now. This is going to take some time, guys. I might just put this little guy here. Put these rings here. And then I can also go back and see if there are any other fussy cut elements that work. I might have more of these these beads. Plus, I was talking about a gesso, a colored gesso solution, or even just coming back in with a dirty stamp. I could even do her elbow a little bit there. Whoa, I creased that. I think that, to be honest, that dirty little brush, it doesn't take away the beauty of the gold tissue, but it does unify it with everything else that is sort of dark here. So you can see how just adding those little shadows along the edges is making a difference. You don't want to wreck the wings. Oh, and it also picks up on those lovely little creases. Let's do this one as well. I mean, whoopsie, this edge is not glued down very well. And we know that, I don't know that that's making it like the look of old gold, but we do know that old gold is just as beautiful as something you might get at the jewelry store this Valentine's Day, because of course I am doing this in February. I wonder if this is not kind of bugging me. Oh, let's tone this down. Touch up her roots while we're at it. I think that that is kind of making me a little unsure about this. There's no doubt it's still metallic. There's no doubt that it's got some shine, but it is not so, whoa, so sparkly that you almost need sunglasses. I didn't realize this wasn't holding. Whoever invented this attachment, this fine point for this art glitter glue was brilliant. Okay, let's keep doing some darkening here. Now, I suspect that if I, oh, her shoulder needs a little, I suspect that if I tried to stamp on that shiny surface, it would not work well at all. So it would have to be another solution if this is still too too bright. The heck, I didn't do a very good job of gluing this, did I? Mind you, it was such a big surface that I had to do all of. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. And did you see how I just gobbed all that glue on there? Do I have a Kleenex in my pocket? Kleenex is not the ideal thing to be doing mop up with, because soon I'll end up with Kleenex fibers stuck to my project. It's really mixed media. Okay. Sorry, I almost let you go, and then I just keep going here. I think I'm going to re-ink this brush a bit. Whoa. And I may just do a little bit of darkening on this. I have to re-glue that corner, I see. Okay. So I started out with all things that glitter and then have just systematically, okay, for better or worse, I'm gluing this guy down. Just systematically have been dulling it with that dirty brush. Okay, so I want to soften this corner. I want to add to the whimsy of this. Let's do the same with the rings. Now, I think I don't like this to be as pointed as it is. These little corners here. You know, it must have been one of those ring holders. So, just taking off that small point. I know it seems like really anal retentive, but that's how I roll, baby. Okay, what did I say? Colored stones on there. Stop that unfortunate point there. Break up this purple a bit. Okay, oh, and I have that one. I might just keep this in reserve until I figure out where I want this to be. This is a huge area here, so it might need something bigger than this little old dragonfly. Now, the nice thing about, oh, for heaven's sakes, the nice thing about this piece is that, you know, the way it was obviously cut off there means that it bleeds off the edge of the page, but it also kind of limits where I can put it. I suppose I could put it there. She's largely untouched here other than the brooch. Okay, I think I'm going to glue this down here, and then if I still need a solution here, it'll just have to incorporate this dragonfly. And I did spend some time yesterday sort of sorting again all those jewelry fussy cuts. I kind of grouped them by subject matter or color so that I knew what I had at my disposal. Because if you don't, you know, you do your design and then you find something after the fact and you think, oh, darn it, if I would have known that I had another dragonfly, my design might have turned out differently. Okay, I'm really stopping now. Okay, I tend, well, when I have my you-know-what in a row, I tend to try to post an Instagram photo or more on the same day that a video is going to appear. So this could look different by the time you see it. I could also bring it back and show it to you next time we work in the art journal. Or I may keep it a secret and never show you how it turned out. I wouldn't do that to you. Yeah. Maybe I shouldn't make a diagnosis yet, because it seems premature, perhaps. But I'm thinking that big element, too many little elements. So there might have to be, now it's too bad I glued that down already. Maybe this gold, or I can break up this, thing. And then this space sort of mimics this space and this space. And it connects the top and the bottom. Okay, I'm doing it. Oh, are you making bets at home? How many minutes after she says it's over does she keep going? How many minutes? Do a bit of scrunching. This doesn't have to be so perfecto. Now you know what I have to do next. Dull it down. Oh, and I still said I have Posca pens that I can, but again, this time I'm really stopping. Thank you so much for joining me. I will, of course, let you know how this turns out in one way or another. I am hoping to have a recurring thing called Follow-Up Fridays. That was the brainchild of Kim Newberg, and I think it's great for someone like me who doesn't edit and come back at the end of a video with the final product. It lets me bring back something, show it to you, you know. Still doesn't work, I don't think. Here we go again. It might work because it's yellow and gold. I mean, it's yellow or it's gold and black. And now I have all these black creases. Anyway, I was talking about Follow-Up Friday. This is insane. Obviously, I'll have to repunch those holes to get it back in the rings. Obviously, this taping idea wouldn't have worked had these pages been done. Now, I still have to... Pretty hard to do a page-by-page analysis when they're still grouped together. Okay, are you ready? Not bad. We want this guy flying into the picture. It needs to be more up here. I think this page needs more work because of the shiny gold and this big black space. So maybe this one is going to need, oh my goodness, here we go again. Oh, that's blue. That's black. What happens if I start adding some drop shadows underneath these circles? This pen is not working that well. I probably need a thicker point or a Posca pen because this surface is not taking this very well. This just adds black to the... Or I might have to put some kind of a jewelly thing around her little skinny waist there. For heaven's sake. What is this stuff made of that it won't stick? Okay, I'm really out of here this time. Okay, guys, I hope that you can sleep not knowing how this turned out, but anyway, I will get back to you with the final product. And yeah. Thanks so much for joining me and putting up with these false goodbyes. See you in the next one. Bye.